Okay.
So in the meantime, while Wando sorts that out, I see a question here from Joshua. How do you craft your CV in landing an EA job? I mean, yeah, so Funke, I'll let you answer, but honestly, Joshua, we have something for you. There's a link, you can join the wait list. There's so much more that you could learn. You know, there's only so much Funke can give in this short time, but we'll have her for deeper competency building.
Yes. So I would say I'm not going to go into that so much, but from all of the things we've discussed on this session today and the link that will be provided for you, and of course all other resources that you get, because at the end of the day, your CV is your CV. So don't copy other people's CV, you know, and your CV should be something I'll tell you, Joshua, your CV should be something that you don't need to look at it to speak. So when you copy other people's CV, then you're having to check, okay, what should I say? What should I say? So your CV is personal. Just use all of the available resources. Reach out if you need help.
Right. So the next question I'm seeing here before Wando goes on is the EA role industry specific, or can you work in a diverse field? Right. That's
okay. So it's not industry specific. I went to law school. I studied law, LLB. I went to law school. I came out. I worked in an engineering company as an executive assistant. I had no idea what is engineering. I had no idea what they did. I had no idea what was going on. But I got into that role and I was able to hone my skills. I was able to apply myself. From there, I was a board secretary to an NGO. I was a board secretary to a public sector, to Lagos State, one of the ministries of Lagos State. I was a board secretary. Currently, I'm a board secretary to a few organizations that are not even that. I have agriculture, I have tech, I have property. So, and this, I'm mentioning this because it was just my skills from being an EA that I just continued to upskill. In fact, when I became a procurement manager, which was kind of the most I had gotten, apart from being a board secretary, it was mainly half of my skills were being an executive assistant, things that I learned. So it is not industry specific. You just need to get into the role and ensure that. So when you get into the organization, the first thing you are checking, like I said during the call, is what do they do? What's their mission? What's their vision? Where are they headed? What are these people doing? You have to check, ask questions. What are their goals? Not just their goals overall. What's their goal for this year? Okay, I'm going to be in this organization for the next 2 years. What are their goals for the next 2 years? So those are the things you're learning. And before you know it, you're working in engineering, you're working in tech, you're working in finance, you're working in this. You become a generalist. So yeah, I hope I answered the question.
honestly, that's very fantastic. It really is not industry specific. And I mean, as Funke has mentioned, if you're able to sell your transferable skills, I promise you, you know, you can get into the different roles. And I think a good thing as an EA, if you're looking to enter any industry, you know, so I have an example of someone who studied engineering but wanted to enter the fashion industry. They were able to be an executive assistant for a fashion CEO, and then they now have their own brand. So I mean, it's not industry specific, as Funke has mentioned from her personal experience. So there's another question here that says, you've been able to give tips for those who are just starting out, but does this mean that you shouldn't try applying for the role at all if you don't have the discussed skills, or can you only do so well concerning some of the requirements? Okay, I think if I understand your question, you're asking, hey, if you don't have all these skills, can you still apply? Maybe I would answer that for you. Please sign up to the wait list that we have, right? We are building out an EA series where you'd learn. We have more experts, you know, like Funke would have more Funke, and you get to learn deeper, right? This is more like a broad overview. You get to learn deeper and deeper competencies and practice some simulations to help you prepare you for the roles that are available. So Wando is ready. We'll have Wando and then I'll ask any other questions in the chat. Wando, please.
Okay. Hi, Ian. Am I clear now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So before I go on to answering my questions, I just wanted to just add on to the overview you've given of the EA series. First of all, a lot of the skills and competencies that Funke mentioned, you can go learn them on the Elite program. They're all right there: time management, learning proper documentation, knowing what tools to use, all of that on there. But then to push that further and then to now narrow in on building the competencies required specific to this role, understanding all the role entails. That's why we're building out the EA series. So we're still going to be running the series on the webinar. And just to mention, this is not the only functional area that we're going to be doing. For all the top demand, for all the tier 1 jobs, and for all the tier 1 functional areas, we're going to be getting you subject matter experts, as we like to call them, our egbons, to come and give us the lowdown and tell us everything about the functional area. So look out for that. That's going to be happening. You're going to be able to meet with other subject matter experts. But onto the EA series, the 101 course, as we're fondly referring to it, is going to be live next week. And you can go ahead and take that. And I'll allow Inyang later on tell us how that's going to work. But, so the wait list is not a wait list forever. As early as next week, you're going to be able to begin your journey. But on to the questions that I had, and I mentioned that I have 3 questions, so I'll give you all of them, Funke. The first one is, could you please emphasize on the need for discretion? And I'm asking that because you had mentioned you're working with a lot of high network individuals. You're getting access to very notable people. They are literally a WhatsApp message away. Talk to us about discretion for the EA role and how important that is. My second question is that I'd like for you to please clarify what being a horrible boss means. And I think that is quite important because EAs, owners of businesses. So if you're an EA and you think it's a lot for you to be able to understand engineering, tech, HR, finance, what do you think the owner of the business needs to understand? Right? If you think your role is intense and it's a lot of things, you are supporting the person who has the most intense job. So qualify horrible, because are they being horrible, or is it that you're both working on things that require certain response times, right? And don't have certain fixed hours. For example, if you're thinking that, it's Friday, some people close early, it's 4 p.m., let me close early, and your boss tells you, no, you're going to be here till 6 p.m., is your boss horrible? So that's my second question. And then my third question, I guess I'm asking on the behalf of everyone on the session this evening. I know you had talked to us about, not be looking beyond the salary and just everything that you had around the earning potentials. But since we have you, is it possible for us to lay demand on us having you and to say, to the best of your knowledge, we understand that compensation changes, right, from organization to organization. But to the best of your knowledge, from your experience, what are kind of like the ranges that you have seen, So those are my questions. Thank you.
Hi, Funke. If you're speaking, you're muted, just in case.
Pardon me. So
Yeah.
I'm just taking some notes. So the first point Wando mentioned was about discretion. The other was being a horrible boss, and the salary range from my experience. Okay, so discretion. During the session, we mentioned that everything comes through you to your boss and from your boss. And whatever happens in your boss's office stays in your boss's office. You have friends in the organization, some of them are probably trying to get close to you just to be able to get information. That's the truth of the matter. So you need to learn, you need to be sure, you need to learn how to manage confidential information. In fact, as an EA, all information is confidential except said otherwise. And then sending emails, sending communications, there are certain things that you shouldn't send over an email to your boss or to someone. Look for a secure channel to communicate that. Or even if you're talking to your boss, it's your boss you're talking to, so try to make it as unclear as possible. I mean, I said you should write clearly, but in situations like that, try to make it oh, hey boss, I sent you something. When you have some time, let's discuss, that kind of thing. Yes. So discretion is very important. And I'll share my personal experience about discretion and confidentiality. I got into trouble at some point in my career. In fact, the person that put me into trouble, if I had a gun at that point and they asked me to shoot that person, only the Lord would come to tell me not to. So he tried to be my friend. He was an older colleague. He tried to be my friend. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, someone to mentor me. It was early in my career. Okay, someone to mentor me, someone to help me, someone to do this and that. Unknown to me, this person had a vendetta against the boss. I didn't know they had a history. So there was this particular, and then I'd been friends, I'd cultivated a relationship with this person. There was this day that, oh, by the way, I didn't learn quickly my first, second year of working. I didn't learn that when you create a document, it's only the owners that see it, or the people that were in the room that see it. You're not giving a third party. So please learn from my experience. You're not giving a third party. The person was not in the meeting. They don't review your document. They don't know what happens. Everything that happens in that room stays in that room. So I would go to this person. Oh, please, can you help me review this? Can you help me write this? Can you help me do this? Can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? You know, or not to me. They were picking points from every conversation we had. They were picking points from every document I gave them to help me review. I was just being innocent. And then on this particular day, we were in the middle of a meeting. My boss's internet wasn't working, and I quickly rushed out to help. He comes up to me, asks me, oh, I didn't get what's going on. Then I go, oh, they're giving this person hell in the meeting. That was all I said. I got into so much trouble, I almost lost my job. So the importance of discretion, of confidentiality, of having a discerning spirit, of ensuring that no matter how much your friends you make at work, your friends outside of work, your friends, but when it comes to your job, you don't discuss your job ever. It is you and your boss. You know, so I hope I am able to give some points. If you need more clarifications on that, please do let me know. And then secondly, being a horrible boss, I really, pardon me, please. I'm so sorry about this. This shouldn't be happening. Adibi, I'm on a call, and please, can you excuse me? Now, thank you. I'm so sorry. Okay. Pardon me. So being a horrible boss, like Wando said, okay, so if your job is meant to end at 4 and your boss asks you to stay till 6, like we said, one of the cons of this rule, and it's not really a bad thing, it's just something that you might not like, is long work hours, your personal life might suffer. It's all fun and games, but you know, at the end of the day, being an EA is something you embody. It's something you own. So when I say a horrible boss, I mean say a boss that sits in an office and is screaming, okay, did you remove the document? What did I tell you? Throws a paper at you, things like that. So when you are faced with that kind of boss, as an executive assistant, it is not your place to react or to say anything. You manage your boss. So when people are managing, you manage up as well. So it's for you to just, manage if you find yourself in a boss that you think is horrible. I've been in a situation whereby I was working in VI that year. I had driven all the way. I was almost entering Third Mainland Bridge. And my boss calls me to turn back into the office simply because he reviewed my documents and it wasn't well written. I didn't see the need for that. If I was meant to go back into the office because, a client came in and we need to have an urgent meeting, that's fair. But then you reviewed my documents, it wasn't well written. But then, was it really a horrible boss? It depends. Had I been doing that thing? Had I been underperforming before then? Had I been warned so many times? So if you ask me to come back into the office, it could be fair. So then it depends on the situation. But if you find yourself facing a horrible boss, you find a way to, deal with them. And also, it's one of the cons of the job because you are working closely with the person. This boss that asked me to come back into the office, I could decide to avoid him an entire week. But then as his executive assistant, there was no way you could do that. There is no way you could do that. So yeah. And then the salary range, to be honest, I've seen 70,000 naira and I've seen 800,000 naira. Those are the ranges I've seen so far. There could be more. But then depending on I recently recommended an executive assistant to a small business owner, and the lady was being paid 70,000 naira. Meanwhile, a friend of mine that we worked together, that was an executive assistant to my CEO then, was earning at a director level, even though she was an executive assistant, because her role had been crafted to be a managerial one. She was earning up to 800,000. So yes.
Right. Thank you so much, Funke. Honestly, the way you have answered with the experiential knowledge just makes it even more, adds more color to it, because you're not just answering, you're telling us your personal experience, so we see the value of discretion and confidentiality. I know there are more questions, but our time is fast spent. But the good thing is this is going to keep going on and on. So